morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever our audience is. Thank you so much. Today we have Ohad Ronen here with us. So let's start with the introductions there in that case, Ohad. Rather than me telling who you are and what you do, why don't you tell us, our audience, about what is it that you want to tell about yourself?
Yeah, no problem. First, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. My name is Ohad. I'm the co-founder of Record. Record will build a customer support layer built for technical teams to automate the resolution process by finding, fixing, and investigating user issues and creating one source of truth for collaboration, starting from the end user and ending in the R&D through all this chain. And I'm very happy to be here.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Now, obviously, we have spoken previously once. I want to know a bit more about yourself. Okay, so how did Ohad end up doing what he's doing right now? What was this story? What was the steps, or what is it that you did throughout that you ended up here today?
It's a great question. I'm 31 years old, by the way, and through all my life, I've been doing entrepreneurial stuff. When I was really, really young, 18, I like created my first company that we tried to fund to. We created a smart homes for iPhones and iPod Touch back then. It was 2010, I think. We didn't succeed to raise money because the VCs told us that there is no market for those phones. So think about how long has been going from there. And then basically I started university learning computer science and entrepreneurship. And in this phase, I established another company helping a lot of other companies do marketing and web development and stuff like that. And I understand this, the complexity of software from one hand, and also complexity in humans from the other hand. And I always bridge this gap. So when we started like exploring the customer service, customer support market, it was very natural for me because I think this is one of the most human part, like the end user part of things, but also the techie one and the one that involve the product into. So I think you can touch all the things that are important, relevant in any company or high-tech SaaS software industry. So this was the journey.
Oh, cool, cool. So, you've been it's fair to say that you've been a sort of entrepreneurial throughout your life. Okay. And one of the things that an entrepreneur kind of needs, one of the skills I would say, is foresight, to be able to see where markets are, what the trend is, etc., etc. And I think this discussion that we're going to have is about the evolving nature of customer service. How do we see customer service in about 2 to 3 years? What is it as an entrepreneur that you see with what is happening in the customer service space?
It seems like we see at the last year a lot of new technologies or spaces that emerge thanks to new technologies that provide us new abilities. One of them are definitely the generative AI, but we can see more other technologies that might be part of how we do service or how we provide service or how we do also support. One of them can be the metaverse or all the AR, VR possibilities that is really interesting to think or imagine what going to be or what going to happen using this technology. But when I talk with a lot of VCs in the space, I think that there is a common agreement that one of the first market that will be disrupted from generative AI, or the first market that can use this in a good manner, will be customer support and customer service.
Okay. Let's ask this question, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners will have the question when you do mention, or anybody mentions, AI and customer services. Is it good or bad for the industry? I mean, I know it can't be a black or white answer to that one, but I just want to know, in your opinion, should people be worrying about it?
I don't think that anybody needs to be afraid from technology. But I think that everybody needs to understand what you can do with the technology, and if it's fit or not fit your company. There is a long debate when I talk with other founders or other customer support leaders, like about the role of the agent in era of generative AI. And I think that today it's super crucial to have somebody look the outcome or the output of any technological output, because in the end, if you provide a bad answer to your client, it can do much more harm than good. So it's really important to understand how those tools working, try to tailor make them to your own specific needs, not to take something out of the box and use it. Try to have the time to understand that and build your own workflows, or even create your own data trained or tuned for the specific AI model. And we can talk about that more later. But I think that this is the main thing, like understand the technique and understand how to use it. And I think that we don't gonna go anywhere, but the way we work gonna change. But in the end, I think that in some places, humans want to talk with bots because it's easier and you don't want to, but in the other hand, there is a lot of cases that you will want to talk with human being and to know that a human being in the other side. So it's a lot of like philosophy and a lot of like how you perceive this world and other people. But if you have this, big understanding of the tools that you can use and how to use them, I think you can grow very fast.
Okay. And I think you're quite echoing with what a lot of people do say, which is AI, but with human sort of intervention. Because as we all know, you do need to invest time. It's not like buying a pair of shoes, which you can take out of the box and start using it straight away. People do think about these tools in that fashion sometimes. And I think we at LinkPad also kind of agree to a greater extent about what this opinion is, because with LinkPad AI as well, with the AI support that we supply as well, there is always a human input to it, which is a human always makes sure that it is controlled, and the responses that go out can be modified with, say, for example, if your customer service tone to your customers is set at formal or informal in certain languages, then we could help support that. But completely agree with you that AI just not left on its own, but with some customer or sort of human intervention with it, and also time to mature that based on what processes that you have there. Okay.
Yeah, totally agree.
Ohad, one question that I think most of our audience, who tend to be, quite young, or people who are joining in, or people who have aspirations to grow ahead, some of them quite leaders as well in the industry would be, what are the challenges? And what I mean by that is, say, for example, if I'm somebody new in this role, or if I want to introduce technology of generative AI in my business, and I don't know where to start, I don't know where to go. So what would be the challenges that I should be aware of before I go ahead and, dip my toes in this in this technology?
I think first you need to understand what is this technology.
Okay.
There is a big hype on OpenAI, ChatGPT, or GPT models. But when we talk about generative AI, we have also stable diffusion models that are uses by Midjourney and stuff like that provide you with the ability to provide them prompt, and then you get an image. You can find a lot of different models, and in the end, you need to understand what is the business objectives. Because if the business objectives is to provide fast way to writing in order to save time, I will choose one software. But if the business objective is to understand very fast what happened to the client or what he's experiencing, maybe another software, another set of tools and models. So I think that my tip will be go and understand the high level of these technologies. I'm not expected for somebody to start going deep on what is forcing learning or all the models that are mathematical and understand what they do. But in the end, to understand that any model that is large language model or LLMs, like they use in ChatGPT, what they can do on how much data set they train, how you can tune them, meaning that how you can let certain information get bigger emphasize on other things. For example, I think that anybody in the space knows Intercom. And what Intercom did, and it's very interesting, that they use OpenAI technology in order to get information from the knowledge bases, because you can also manage knowledge bases at Intercom. And what they do, they basically train the ChatGPT model only on the knowledge base of the company. So if you can, if you want to ask a question like who is the president of the United States, you don't gonna get an answer. But if you go to ChatGPT, same model, you do get this answer. So understand what you can do and how you can tune that for your needs, and then came to your leaders or your CEO or any decision maker and say, I thought that this particular tool might provide us with success in this objective, this company objective, and let's try that. Let's do an experiment. Let's take a group of people and try that and get responses, and to see actually if it saves time or it's not helping you, because in the end it's what changing the needle and what make the impact and what not.
No, absolutely. No, thank you. Thank you for that insight, though. Well, you mentioned a couple of things there. So we find the same, and that's where we have some traction as well, which is Intercom number one. So LinkPad AI, we support a lot of multilingual articles on Intercom, and we have actually seen this technology work firsthand, which is wonderful, whereby you can go into the chat, you can speak to the agent in whichever language, and by the time you're asking questions, it is also searching help center articles that you can use without having to actually speak to someone. So it's massive when it comes to self-help. So okay, I'm with you on that one there. Now, tell us a bit about your company and how is it that either you guys are using generative AI, or what is the kind of trends that you see in the industry, and what is it that you guys are doing?
So Record is a company that tries to solve a lot of the communication, starting in the end user and finishes at R&D when you need to fix bugs and understand what the user is experiencing. And we based all the conversation on something that we called, or the industry called, session replies. And what's unique about those data that we collect, session replies that can be visualized, is it's look like a video, but it's not really. And the data we collected, like console log and network issues, and user transcript, and all of them are text-based. And these models help us to very fast find similarities between different users and to understand what happened in any given ticket based on what the user actually did in the product. So we can extract very insightful information from those things. And we look on customer support journey like a journey that somebody that they have medical emergency going through the doctor, the same goes to support. Somebody has an issue, he go to the customer support rep, and then the customer support rep need to ask question, understand things, do some tested, and get the information or the data he need to better understand what happened. So Record do all of that in almost fully automated process, and also provide insights to all the chain using AI, like sentiment analysis, similarities, and finding the, more information about what occurred to different groups and stuff like that.
So as a business, and I'm just thinking this from a customer support and customer service perspective, right? So I'm a business that has both these teams, or it could be one team works with that, what will I benefit from it? What will be the benefit for a business from this technology?
So if you talk about record and not in general generative AI, so basically it's enable you to save a lot of developer time. This is why we have tier 2 and tier 3 to be able to, take less time from developers because they are 2 times higher expensive than technical support. So it saves you a lot of time and make you much more proactive. I think that this is going to be a big name to the future, like being proactive, trying to prevent errors before they occur to the user, or provide him with the service because you already know that something happens and you can approach and let him know that you know that something happened, and you want to, I don't know, give him something because you want him to feel better. Because most of the time, not a lot of the users send tickets or say that something go wrong. The end of them do experience something. So with the tools today, you can be much more proactive and get overall better CX, customer experience, and overall better service.
I think this is something that I've heard as well, which is, a lot of companies base their CX performance on customer feedback, right? But not all customers give feedback. And some customers might not have had a bad experience and they might not even select to give you feedback. Someone might not have the time, even though they want to give you feedback. So I think this tool that you're saying is helps you to introspect, look into yourself before anybody tells you.
Definitely. And with our tool, you also, you can send somebody a record request, and then you can record everything and say what he's experiencing. And you can use that as a feedback because we also extract the user sentiment and the user emotion, and you can an automatic tagging for you the data, so you can in glance very fast get a lot of information that CX leader need.
Yeah, no, and again, personally, I think it's a wonderful tool because reason being is words cannot sometimes describe what voice, tone, and facial expressions can, right?
Exactly.
It happens so many times. I'm sure you probably would have come across where you read a text message and you think, hey, does this sound angry or does it sound good? And you don't know unless you see the person and you think, oh, it's a totally different expression there. So I think
there is a research about this topic, and this is why we see a lot of use in emojis, because emojis help us to put some emotion into our text because the other person can't see us or feel the tone. So there is a massive research in universities about this topic. Yeah, definitely.
The other thing as well is, when we talk about AI and when we talk about customer service, there's a lot of data that comes into play, right? There are a lot of KPIs. There are a lot of metrics that people have to measure these. Do you think using generative AI would mean that we completely change the data metrics or the data points or the KPIs? Or can this still work with what is existing at the moment? So, can we still use the same KPIs and the same metrics and use generative AI along with that?
I think we can use the same. In the end, objectives and KPIs are there to measure if we're in the right path to success. And most of the time are related to revenue or related to, in the end, they related all of them to revenue, because also certification and stuff like that, they are a proxy to better revenue. But you want to make sure that customers are happy and the company doing good efficiency wise and revenue wise. So I don't think this is gonna change, but we will use tools or other tools or new tools to faster hitting our goals, or maybe our goal will be much more higher because we'll be more capable.
Okay. One more question. Now, this is for yourself then. A lot of people want to keep up with the trends, right? They want to know what is happening in the industry. They want to know where everybody's going, or what people think about certain things within the CX or the CS domain, or even when it comes to generative AI, for example. who do you follow? Are there any blogs? Are there any sort of these days you can call them influencers, but they could be some experts, some leaders in the industry, or are there any books, any podcasts, any webinars? The reason I ask that is because there's so much of resource out there. I just want to understand, what is it that you follow, and what would you recommend people do in this case?
There's a lot of people that I follow. There is few leaders in the space of generative AI or AI in general, company wise. You have NVIDIA, you have OpenAI, you have Google, and they are also really focused on business application for those technologies. But I will mention a specific YouTube channel called 2 Minute Paper.
Okay.
This is not 2 minute per se. Sometimes it's 10-15 minutes video long, but maybe it starts from 2 minutes, so it's 2 minutes paper. And he take new papers that paper researchers that go publish and try to provide it in a more common tone or common language that everybody will understand, and try to say what the research is saying. So he cover a lot of different models, not only stable diffusion and LLMs or NLP models, natural language processing, or large language models. So you can look on various of things from medical and a lot of amazing things. For example, a lot of AI gonna used in gaming. Mm-hmm. And how it's gonna affect all our experience that we're gonna play games. So it covers everything. And if I find a topic that is relevant and interesting for me, I will go deep dive into that and find more information on how I can use that. But I always try to use that by my own. And I think that I will recommend everybody that can do that, try to play with those tools and to understand benefit and the cons and pros of using them.
No, thank you. It's always insightful because every day we learn some new things, and a lot of people, a lot of our listeners are also listeners who kind of listen into the podcast, but then they just want to get something out of it as well, something that will help them enhance whatever knowledge that they have. So that's the reason why. Is there any events or any places or any meetings or any conferences that you guys will be attending, or you have plans to attend? Anything that you might be useful for say a young person going into generative AI or trying to find out more about it?
So most of the events are separated by the personas that gonna go to those meetings. So we're gonna be there is a huge event of AWS Amazon here in Israel very soon. But I really like, but I never had the chance to go, support-driven community event. And I know that a lot of leaders from the support and service space going to those events. So if somebody goes, DM me, and maybe we can we can meet each other. And everybody that can have some cool ideas and recommendation to events, I would be happy to know and meet you there.
Perfect. No, thank you. Thank you for that. Well, definitely what we'll do is we'll also put up your details. So anybody who wants to contact you can contact you directly on your LinkedIn page or through your LinkedIn profile.
Definitely.
Okay. One more question is, just can you roughly describe what your day looks like? So, when you start your day, and by the time you end it, and I'm sure, your day and every day probably would be a bit different, but on a general basis, what does your day look like?
I have pretty same routine. I'm trying to stick into this routine, but I have two young kids, 3 years old and 1.5 years old. So most of the time, it doesn't have like a wake up alarm. They will wake me around like 6:30 in the morning, and then I have my morning routine, like taking the dogs out, put them in school and stuff like that, And I have one of the days going to gym, one not, and then I try to have 1 hour after I came back to dedicate it to learning.
Okay.
This is where I get all my information about, AI and stuff like that. This is exactly the time in the day that I spend into understanding the future and trying to understand what we can do with the technology that we have today and bring it to the company. Then we basically do a daily stand-up meeting that everybody go and say what they do for today. Then I put the time to do some tasks, mainly in the morning, like the most, thing that I need to focus, emails, follow-ups, a lot of things like that. Then lunch, I try to keep my coffee stop at 2 p.m. And then basically I need to take my kids out in 5 p.m. And then I have kind of evening routine, going out to get some sunlight, and then everything going to dark mode, and then that's it. But a lot of the time I also have demos and customer calls in the midnight, because we're located in Israel, and a lot of our customers are in United States or in a different time zones, so we have those as well. But roughly this is my routine.
I think one good thing that I'll probably take from this podcast that we are having is that 1 hour of learning, the time that you put aside. Because,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's not magic. You don't wake up with the knowledge. You don't go to sleep and wake up and you have new knowledge. You're actually investing some time into doing that. So that's such a wonderful idea. I mean, I think if not an hour, if not everybody can spare an hour, but at least if you can spare 30 minutes or 20 minutes doing that, where you're actively trying to educate yourself and learn about this, then I'm sure it's going to show up at some point or the other. Okay.
definitely. It's one of the most, I think, important investment that I do during my day.
One more question about your aspirations there. It is good to have goals and ambitions. What is it that you have? What is your goal for number one for yourself and number two for the business?
So, from the day I remember myself, I wanted to do impact and provide value to others, make their lives better. So this is my inspiration from my side, and I always wanted to do a few things. Um, so from one hand, I have the company. From the other hand, I try to help a lot of other entrepreneurs succeed, and I mentor other young startups and try to help them with the time that I don't have much, but I try to do my best. Um, Company wise, we really look, to expand our offering, and we look into this space of generative AI, and we want to understand how we can conquer new market. So there is a lot of opportunities, and I hope that we're gonna be a big company that will provide a new experience to users all around the world, to basically to have better experience and get their problem solved in the end of the day as fast as we can, like zero time in a zero time. So this is something that if we're gonna achieve will make me very happy.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good to know that. The other thing is, I did mention when we first spoke, would there be some kind of a case study, or is there an example of a real life example I'm talking about here about a company or an organization that you guys have assisted with this technology, and how did that go? So if you can just give us a short, brief line, if you do have an example.
Yeah, and I will try to connect it to what Linkbed doing. We had a company that is kind of a marketplace for AI to bring data and models, and you need to tag the data. So this is what they do. It's kind of marketplace. You have to do two sides: the one that create the models, and the other side are people that their English not so well, but they tag the information for you for a cheap price. And then basically a lot of the problems were the communication between those two side of the equation, the one that create a model that have great English but very professional one, and the one that they have not so good English. So the support get a problem, and then we need to understand what happened. And most of the time it was really hard for them to communicate them using text or something like that. So we provide them with record, and then they can request to understand what happened, and they can see that, for example, you know, some of the users try to upload a photo, but it doesn't have a good connection to the internet because they're located in poor connection areas. So they can see in record this information about the network latency, and they can say, got it, I know what the problem is. I don't need to reproduce this in order to provide him with feedback about, like, wait a little bit and stuff like that. And very fast they understand things from the data and they can act on it. So for me, it was very, very happy. And I think for you guys is the same, like the ability to open, the market to other places and have your unique ability to sell anywhere in the world, but to have support localization, it's a huge deal for a lot of companies.
No, absolutely. And I get that as well, because when somebody's facing a technical problem and, you get a record or, just like you said, how you guys support that, you can actually prevent it for others from happening as well before they actually come and tell you that. So, as you said right at the beginning, it was, being more proactive than reactive. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Okay. So that kind of brings us to an end of the formal part of the podcast where I'm kind of picking on your brain and trying to understand as much as I can. We'll do a bit of fun part here that we do in all podcasts. There's a bit of trivia, a round of trivia. I've got 5 questions, would you rather questions, and just let me know what comes to your mind first. You'll get a choice of 2, okay? And let's see how that works out for this one.
Okay.
So are you ready? No pressure.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so the first question is this. Would you rather only be able to use a fork for the rest of your life or only a spoon for the rest of your life? Nothing.
Fork.
Oh, fork, yeah?
Yeah.
So I take it you don't drink too much of soup then?
Yeah, no need. And I think I can try to use this little gap between the knives, of the fork, like to use it to take a soup. But it needs to be like fast, and I also can do, to take the bowl out and drink it. So I will be fine.
Perfect. Okay, no, very logical, very logical. I think you've given us a lot of ideas here as well. So, okay. Would you rather that there was a water balloon fight every day in your city or a food fight every day in your city?
A food fight.
Yeah.
Because then maybe I can eat something along the way. Because if I will do a water balloon, in the end I will be very hungry, and then I need to go to eat something. This way I can keep fighting all day long,
Okay. Food fight for you, okay. The other one. Okay, this is quite creative. So you have to imagine this, okay? So every time you sneeze, 30 butterflies instantly appear, or every time you cough, you get to see an angry squirrel. Which one would it be?
Butterfly with sneezing.
Butterflies.
I think, yeah. I think there is something medical in that. So it was very cool to be like in a podcast or, in a meeting with a lot of important people, and then you sneeze and a lot of butterfly. I think I can raise a lot of money just by showing that in a meeting. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now this one's a bit more practical now, okay? So, would you rather eat a sandwich made out of 4 random ingredients in your fridge chosen by someone else? Or would you rather eat a sandwich that's made by your friends using the 4 ingredients from your fridge? So, any random person makes a sandwich for you using 4 ingredients, or your friends make a sandwich for you using the 4 ingredients in your fridge?
Random people, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. My friends are not. They will do the best to take the best video from it. So, I think that a random person will be more have more mercy about me than my friends. So yeah, I think I would go with a random person.
Okay. I think if I probably asked this question to most of them, they'd probably say the same thing as well. Because I don't know, what's it about friends and not being nice to. Okay, right. Last question. This is the last question. Would you rather be able to control lights with your mind or actually be able to project or throw your voice?
Throw my voice?
Yeah. So like, if we're talking, then all of a sudden I start talking like you. You can like throw your voice to me and I start talking like you.
I will go with lights, and I know why.
Okay.
Um, every night when me and my wife are going to the bed to go to sleep, and then the light stays on, I'm the one to get up and close them. So if I have the ability to close them with my mind, and I try to plug Google Home Assistant to
Yeah.
say them close the lights, but it's never worked. So I will take that ability and be able to use my wand to close lights. It will be amazing. And then I also can do like the magic tricks from Harry Potter and do like I take the lights off, and it's also be amazing and awesome. So I definitely will go with that.
I see from your answers, I think you're a very practical person because every answer you've given me has got some purpose. It's very
Yeah,
practical in that sense.
in the end, yeah, I need things that I need, not things that I don't need. you know.
Perfect, perfect. Now, thank you, Ohad. It was lovely having you. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I had a great time. Hope you felt the same as well with him.
Yeah, yeah, me too. It was amazing. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching this video in our podcast series. Please do let us know in the comments whether you like the video or if you have any suggestions. We have an amazing list of guests lined up for you in the coming few weeks. Please do like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye.